Fun pattern, guys. This is inspired by my son, and I wanted to make this part of the tutorial for free in a separate video on surface crocheting eyes, or it's called surface stitch. And this is this yarn's at Michael's. All the materials, I'll have it in the YouTube description box with the links or in the comments. But this is all part of the Minion tutorial where the materials will have direct links. And we want to use super bulky size 6 right here. Now, no tapestry needle, if I'm saying it correctly. It is all our hands. And Tim, guys, he has different colored eyes. It's actually green, brown, but I didn't have green. I decided to just go with the blue. That's okay. So lots of observation with this tutorial because it's a technique, not necessarily a pattern, but a technique. So I'm using my buttons to help me with the placement. If it's easier, just do one eye. But if you want to do Bob or Kevin, he's got 2 eyes. Now, do you see that gap, that stitch, a horizontal stitch? You want to make sure you have at least a horizontal stitch in between. And so that should also help with your placement. Use your buttons and use one horizontal stitch space in between. Now we're going to start off with a little short tail, and we're pulling a loop through. Now, right up on the band. So again, that should help with your placement. We're going to make this black pupil part right up on the band where the goggles are going to go. Now watch how I curve it. I curl this working yarn out around a stitch right up above it. Pull a loop through. You want to be knitting really tight. Make these loops really, really tiny and tight. And I pull that loop right through the previous stitch I just made. And so one of the tips is pulling your yarn in the direction, the flow you want it to go in, and it will work with you. So we want this to go into a tight circle. And so now I'm taking the stitch column right over, curl the working yarn, pulling the loop through a vertical stitch. And now I'm going to take that loop I just made and pull it to the previous loop, making these loops very, very tight and tiny. If you have nails, that is such a bonus perk right there. You want them really tight and tiny. Now we're going to be ending it. We want a small little pupil. Don't give so much space, so much work room for the pupil. We want it really small. So I cut off a short tail. And now I'm basically just going to lock it, secure it. There is no rule or rhyme, just secure it. Like I said, we're making it's basically a foundation chain we made. And I'll pull that tail through a stitch and then through any black stitch. We just want to secure it. There is no exact rule or rhyme on, okay, now you're going to pull it through the second stitch you made. No, you just want to secure it. And that's what I'm doing here. So again, you want to make sure you make your pupil, the black part, really small. You don't want to give too much of the canvas. I'm going to call the plushie the canvas. Too much space to it. We just want it really small because we're going to be working foundation chains going around outward. And we're doing 2 eyes. If you're doing 1, then you got a little bit more freedom to go ahead and do a bigger pupil, and it's going to be way easier. But we're doing 2. So keep this black pupil, make sure it's aligned with your button on the overalls. It really helps if you place you did your buttons. And then here I'm just trying to secure it all. Weave the short tail through a stitch or 2 and then poke it all in really, really good. Usually when I poke in my tails, I use hot glue, but this part you do not have to. In fact, it will make it harder because the glue will get in the way. because now we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be working outwards. Now there's that horizontal stitch. We still want that stitch free. That stitch is for the goggles right there. And then, of course, use your fingers to help mold this circular shape as best as you can get it. And now we're going to be putting on the color part, and then it's going to be the white part, and then it's going to be the goggles. So lots of layering effects here that are going to be expanding outward. And that's why it's very important you have a small, tiny pupil. So again, it's green and brown. All I have is blue and brown. That's fine. So do you see how I'm starting right at the top. Doesn't matter what side, what point. Pull the tiny little loop through, and now the very next precedent stitch, do you see how I'm curving it? You can curve it either from the bottom point or from the top point. And I pulled that loop right through the previous loop that I started with. Lots of molding, lots of pressing. Lots of observation here. Just watch how I'm curling the yarn around the stitch from the bottom point or from the top point, from the left side or from the right side. And then I pull the loop right through the previous loop. That is surface crocheting technique. We're basically doing a foundation chain on the surface of our plushie. You could do this on the surface of a blanket, surface of anything hand knitted. That's why it's called surface stitch, or it's really surface crocheting, because we're taking a loop and pulling it through another loop. That is the crocheting right there. So you see, I'm gonna curl it around, pop it out, pull that loop to the previous loop, keeping it nicely, tightly fitted against the black pupil. That is very important that you're using super bulky size 6. You can do it probably with size 5, might be a little bit challenging there. But size 6, that's what you want, not size 7. And again, it's basically a foundation chain you're making into a circle. So I'm judging it here. Can I cut it off, or do I need to make one more crochet stitch? So I'm curled it, popping out the loop, gonna pull it through the previous loop. Real tight, tiny loops. Now, can I lock it right here? Yes, I can. Again, cut in a tail. No rule or rhyme here, but just watch how I secure it. Pull it to the last loop I just made. And then stretching it on over. So it's all one flushed blue circle. And guys, this yarn is really fluffy, the loops and threads. It keeps popping out, and just take your scissors. Highly recommend this yarn for your Minion or any plushie. Really gives a nice cozy look to it. Now, do you see what I'm doing? I'm taking my scissors, or if you have like a tapestry needle, and I'm trying to pull up a gap here so I can push this tail right on through to merge the whole circle into a nice infinity circle all connected. Alright guys, so there you go. That was the second layer. Now watch what I do here. Once again, poking the tails nice and deep into the polyfill. No need to use hot glue because we're going to be building up right there. Now with the white, and then it's the goggles. So my white is a different brand of yarn. It was a little bit more thicker, and that's why it's very important to stick with the same brand of yarn for all colors. because the white is way thicker than the blue, where you're going to notice it's going to be coming too much onto the blue. So just really important right here, a little tip, keep to the same brand for all 3 layers, or at least for the eye, because the goggles is going to be with chunky size 7, but the eye itself must be same brand, super bulky size 6. So you see, I started right by that space, that horizontal stitch that I want to keep free. And now I'm working it around the eye. But this one, I am skipping a stitch in between. So I'm taking every second stitch. So I need to make these loops a little bit longer. You can keep going for every preceding stitch, but I want to hurry up the process here now. And so I'm going to be skipping. So there's that stitch right there I can take, or the second stitch over. And that's what I'm going to do. And it just means you have to pull longer loops. And it works. This yarn is thicker, so that's why I'm also skipping a stitch. So again, you either take the preceding one or a stitch over, especially if it's kind of thick, super bulky, size 6. Which I will have a warning in the YouTube description box before you even begin this tutorial. And so you see, we're building up the layers. Basically foundation chains, working outward. Tucking in my tail right there, guys. Get just all nice and pressed in. And I'm taking the second stitch over. Speed up the process, and because this yarn's a little bit thicker, if it's really thin and you can work with it, just make sure you're taking every next preceding stitch. But this one I can get away with it because it's way it's a little bit on the thicker side. It's velvet. It was all that I had. So I'm going to be completing the circle here. Do you see it again? Curl it, pull the loop through, and then pull the loop through the previous stitch and pull it on up. See, can we stop at that point? So watch what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and make an additional loop. Pulling it through the white stitches. Nice long loop there. Pulled it to the previous loop. And done. Now maybe that had made it a little bit chunky right there. That's okay. But the whole point is, be your own judge with it. And if you can make another loop, make another loop. If you can stretch it up and it connects the whole circle, then cut it off. You're done. And so maybe it made it a little bit too bulky right there, guys, because if you see the white, it's coming onto the blue too much. But that's okay. Because this is truly like drawing with yarn. You're going to make a mistake. There's going to be some imperfection. So now I had cut a tail. Now I'm just trying to secure it all down. It's going to be super tight. Just keep on squeezing this working yarn right through. And you want it very tight. The tighter, the better. So you see it's a little bit chunky right there, but that's okay. It's okay. It works still. So this completes our third layer of the eye. This completes the eye itself. And make sure you tuck in everything really, really good. No need to worry about it coming undone because we're going to be building on top of it with the goggles now, which is with chunky size 7. I'm using Bernette Frosted. It's at Michael's only. And so there's that horizontal stitch I kept saying. Keep that nice space, that spacage of one horizontal stitch. And now we are going to start with the goggles. And it's the same concept with chunky size 7. You're basically surface crocheting, making foundation chains, going around, a long foundation chain going around in a circle around the eye. That's it. So same concept right here. I'm seeing where it makes sense to curl the yarn from the bottom point or the top point. Now, because this yarn is way thicker, you can go ahead and skip a stitch, or you can take the next preceding stitch. Whatever looks better to you, whatever makes sense. So these loops are relatively tight, guys. They're not the tiniest, but they kind of got a little bit of a long length to it because I'm going to be stretching these loops around, trying to complete the process quickly. So there's that stitch, next preceding one, or there's a stitch on over. And like I said, you can take the next preceding stitch, or you could take the second stitch over, which I recommend taking the second stitch over. The thicker the yarn. With chunky size 7, take the second stitch over and just stretch your loops out. Just make a little bit longer loops. So it gets the process done quicker, and it looks smooth still. It still looks flushed. Curl that yarn around the stitch, pull the loop through, a nice stretched loop, and pull it to the previous stitch. There you go. Constantly molding, constantly shaping. So that's what I'm doing there. So that's pretty much it, guys. The second eye, I give a brief overview because it's the same exact technique. It's not a pattern, it's a technique. And so I just thought this was pretty neat, that if you cannot, because I just could not find a colored Google eye, and that's what I wanted, because that's what makes Bob different. So he has these colored eyes. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to make my own eye. And it's really soft, going all the way around. Because in the tutorial, I do show a Google eye, which is fun, if you want the movable effect. But if you want color and you want it to be all soft and you enjoy the knitting, where you want to surface crochet, there's this right here. That makes perfect circles. I went a little bit too chunky with the white part, but that's okay. I'm going to make mistakes myself. I just got to kind of shift it and push it a little bit, and then it's fixed. So that's what I'm doing right there. I just got to kind of push it back, mold it a little bit with my fingers, and it works. So watch what I'm doing there with that tail I just started with. I'm poking it all in. No need for glue right now. And then I'm going to complete this circle. And that's it, guys. Make sure, again, you have that space stitch right in a horizontal stitch, space stitch. One column right in the middle. A horizontal stitch. Same brand of yarn for all 3 layers of the eye, and then a chunky size 7 one for the goggles. And now do you see I'm going to trace my finger? Lots of outlining, lots of tracing, lots of visualizing. So I'm going to go and connect it right here, going through the goggle stitch. Pull a loop right through. and then pull it through the previous stitch, the previous loop. Done. So it's like an infinity circle, the infinity symbol. Now, when we resume with the goggles for the other eye, we're going to resume where it's going to be like outlining the infinity sign. So now measuring up for the placement, use your button, use the goggle band, use 3 or 2 fingers width, or out 3 fingers width. So this is kind of like the hard part right here. We're trying to get symmetry. Find that placement. As I'm saying, doing one eye can be actually, I want to say promising if it's your first time. Then you can do 2. Just to get a real good feel on the technique and judging accurate placement. So starting out, guys, with the same thing. So I go over this side a little bit quicker. Same thing, tight circle, no rule or rhyme right here. Just secure it all in. Weave that tail through a yellow stitch, then went through a pupil black stitch. Now I'm going to push in all this yarn. And these tails will not come out because we're going to be building up a foundation chain right up over it. Well, there's no way that it can escape. My toddlers, guys, they taught me so much. Even where we tuck in your tails with knots, they will come out. So there you go. And now we're starting with the brown. This is a different brown. If you notice, it's thinner. And so I kind of messed up right there because you can tell the brown side is smaller than the blue side. That's okay, it was all what I had. But highly recommend the brown yarn, as I put a warning in the description box. Please, skinny chenille really, really is perfect for this technique. And there you go, working it around, curling it around the stitch, the next preceding stitch, because this is way thinner yarn, and then pulling that loop to the previous loop. Tight, tiny loops. Keep it nice and tight. Pull on the tail to help tighten it when you're barely starting out. And same technique. So right now I'm kind of struggling right here to find the next preceding stitch to be able to poke this yarn right through because it's really tight. And that just means it's good. You're knitting good. And just keep working it around. Secure it off with your tails. Poke them all in. And then go on to the white part. Foundation chain in a circle. And then resume with the goggles. Completing like the infinity sign. Infinity symbol. And that's how you surface crochet, guys. Perfect for layering eyes, the color. Especially for the Minion, because they're really big eyes and it's all soft. And again, you're gonna make mistakes. I did on video, and that's okay because you're drawing with yarn. So just like how you need to erase, just undo your work if you can or you care, and just lots of practice. And there you go. So I don't completely show you how to do it again. It's all the same, but I'm going to continue now with the goggles. So you see now we're going to continue where we left off and working it all around. It's like we're completing that infinity symbol. And so there you go. Chunky size 7 for the goggles. And keep it tight still. You're just stretching these loops out a little bit longer. and constantly be molding with your fingers and keeping it flushed against each previous layer of surface crocheting. So I'll let you guys observe, because it's really just a technique and lots of repetition and lots of observation, where in order to learn this, it's truly just eyeballing. So as you work it down the side and going underneath the eye, in an awkward angle almost, it really helps to be rotating your plushies. Just I had to keep mine right under the camera, but it helps to rotate your plushie, turn it completely all around to be able to keep flowing this foundation chain going around the eye without struggling so much right here, especially as you get at the point, the corner of going underneath the eye. Really helps to just rotate your plushie right there and get at a good angle. So that's where you're going to kind of see me be struggling a little bit more, because it was kind of hard crocheting here and keeping it under the camera at a good angle. But there you go, guys. So I really hope this technique is fun. You learn something new, that you can make perfect circles just with practice, and you can keep it all knitting, all yarn, all soft and secured. So really would like to be incorporating this more right here. I do this with my sleeping stitch, but it's just more of surface stitching. This one's a little bit more crocheting because you're pulling loops through a previous loop, making a foundation chain. So there's surface stitching, and then there's surface crocheting, and then oftentimes they are interchangeable techniques where it means the same thing. And there you go. So pretty neat. No need for a needle. And if you like this right here, if you want to do a minion, I do have the tutorial, including for Tim, making a tiny little teddy bear, especially for you super bulky size 6. Bob will basically be able to hold the teddy bear then. But there you go. Be the judge as you're coming up towards the middle part, because we don't need a double layer of that part. So this is where you can be the judge now and see, okay, can I cast it off? Can I complete it off? And that's what I'm doing here. I'm judging it now, because we don't want to make it all bulky in the middle. And then it helps to go ahead and like continue another loop then. That's what I'm doing here. I'm making another loop to see, do I want to continue it? And I'm going to judge it. It looks pretty bulky to me, like too much there. So now I'm going to undo it, just like an eraser. Just pull on the working yarn and go back to where I was at and judge it with a little bit better accuracy, I'm going to say. And there you go. So once you're satisfied, once you're like, I'm done, cut a tail and go ahead and secure it down. Anyway, just secure it down. Pull this working tail right on through a yellow stitch. You see I dug to get a yellow stitch. and then pull it through the previous loop, always through the previous loop to secure it down. Pull it nice and tight, nice and tugged, and done. Now I'm going to see where I can poke in this tail. And it's a pretty excessive tail too, but I'm going to go ahead and weave it on up through another stitch. So lots of judgment right here. If you want to weave it through another stitch or just tuck it in, you can even cut off the excess and tuck in a small tail. And now for security purposes, use hot glue. So do you see, I just cut a little tip off because I'm going to be using hot glue now. Now we use the hot glue for extra security, which is optional, but I just want to make sure this is all secured. So it's really tight here, guys. I'm kind of having a hard time pushing it in. And that's so good right there. You want it super tight where you're struggling. Now I'm going to put in hot glue, dig it right into that polyfill. Bring a little bit to the surface, just a little, and poke in a scrap, a same color piece of yarn. Any glue that pops out and is felt, just take your scissors and chop it. And now I'm just taking my scissors and cutting out any of the fluffy yellow yarn that's coming through. So you can see there's some fluffy yellow yarn right there. I'm going to try and cut it as best as I can. And so yeah, just use your scissors to finish perfecting. And there you go, guys, done. That's not too bad right there with the placement because we basically are drawing. And so it's kind of hard to get good placement right there. But like I said, doing one eye is really promising right there because it's giving you good practice. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the mouth. I am not using a tapestry needle still. I'm doing all hands. And I wanted to show a tutorial with just your hands. Because for those that don't know how to embroider, which I'm, at the time of doing this tutorial, I did not know how to embroider. And so I want to show that you can embroider with your hands. Just use some hot glue to secure in the end tips. And that's what I'm doing here. So I made a little mouth, simple mouth. Now I'm going to be taking scraps of yellow pieces of yarn and stabbing it in where I poke in the tails. So I'm pushing that tail, keeping it real simple here, guys. And then right where my fingers are, hot glue directly into the polyfill, and then scrap yarn, same color of yarn. If you're using any kind of fluffy yarn, Bernette Frosted, Loops and Threads, Fluffy Chenille, Amazon even sells some really fluffy yarn. But Cozy, you will not see where you cut and poked in a scrap yarn. It's all blended. So see, I'm really getting in that hot glue. And then poking it in. Done. That's it, guys. No need for any kind of embroidery work with the tapestry needle. It's all hands. So this was pretty neat right here. I just couldn't find a colored Google eye. And I wanted to go all soft. So surface crocheting. Finger crocheting. There you go. And then I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue. This is optional all right here too. And just kind of pin the mouth right there. I think I put the mouth a little bit too much on the side. But that's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you are interested in making the Minion and in making Tim a cute little set, guys, I have it in my shop. I'll be providing the link. Thank you so much. This is a really sweet one, cute one.